What's up, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about 3 ways to close more leads today, and the best part is not a single one of these needs training or practice or anything. It's literally already at your fingertips. You just got to do them. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Hey everyone, it's Logan Shinholster with Contractor Growth Network. Today is literally one of my favorite topics to talk about, and here's why. Some of this stuff in business is so easy, yet nobody does it, and they go out of business, and it's because you don't know how to do some of the most basic out there. So I'm gonna walk you through 3 ways, super simple, how to close more leads today, that if you don't put this stuff into place, you're literally asking to just go out of business, because if your competition does this, your first things is first, speed. If somebody calls you up or a lead comes in on the internet, that is somebody that most likely does not know who you are. It is not a warm person. If you're selling to a friend or a family member, speed may not be as important. But when it's somebody brand new and the very first impression they have of you is when they call you, you don't pick up, or they call you and you call them back 4 or 5 days later, what kind of impression do you think that person is gonna have of you? So when I mean speed, I mean follow-up time. Now, a lot of contractors, a lot of business owners as a whole, they don't like to answer their phone because of a couple reasons. One, they're in the field or they're busy. I get that. You're out there, you're busy, you're in it. But here's the problem. Whoever touches base with that prospect first is more likely to win the business. And even if you're in the field and you can't have a full-on conversation, at least answer the phone. Hey everyone, stop for a second. I got somebody calling me. Hello, this is Logan with Logan's Contracting. Sure, yeah, actually I'm in the field right now, but is there any way that I can call you back later on today? Sure, what time works for you? Perfect, I'll call you back then. That's it. You literally just need to touch base with them as soon as they call in. And if you can't, deal with them right there, just schedule a time to follow back up. But if you wait, I think there's a study that came out that said if you wait more than 30 minutes, then you're slowly starting to lose them more. So if you get them within the first 30 minutes of them calling, let's say you don't answer the first time, your chances of closing the deal go up 21 times. Think about that. 21 times more likely to convert that lead if you reach out to them within 30 minutes of them calling. So just imagine how much higher that number is if you answer on the very first call, or if you call them back within 5 minutes. All right, I personally, my goal is to freak people out. When they submit a lead online or they shoot me a message or whatever and say, hey, I need some help with marketing or for my business, I call them back immediately. And every single time they go, didn't expect for you to call back that fast. And I'm just sitting here thinking in my head, well, you're telling me that you have no more, you text me saying, hey Logan, I'm not getting any leads. Can we talk about marketing? Is that not a big deal that I should be worrying about, like for your business? Like, what happens if I wait a week to give you a call back? Do you have enough leads to even make it through another week, or are you gonna have to start laying people off? So it's super important to people, especially if you're in one of these businesses that like time is of the essence, right? Roofing, or restoration or remediation, any of those services where it's like speed is everything, then if you're taking a couple days to call people back, or even taking several hours to call people back, what if the roof is leaking, right? And you're calling them back 12 hours later, hey, yeah, your roof's leaking, but I'm sure by the time I'm calling you back now, the rest of your house is messed up too. Call people back quickly. They love it. It will always impress them every single time, and you have a much higher chance of actually closing the deal if you call people back ASAP. In the very least, shoot for 12 hours, okay? Sounds crazy. If you're on vacation, at least touch base and say, hey, I'm on vacation. Please let me call you back. Oh, it's family time? Answer the phone. Let me call you back. It's family time. Again, you have to balance what's more important, your business or you're enjoying yourself for another couple hours, right? But in reality, you're literally taking 30 seconds to let the person know, hey, I got your information, appreciate it, let me call you back later. And that's it, okay? Number 1 is speed. Number 2, follow-up. People are super busy, right? just because they reached out to you and you call them back once and they don't answer doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to call you back, because sometimes someone's going to fill out a lead or give you a call and then you call them back, they're busy and they forget about it. It happens. You call them back again, they're busy. They forget about calling you back, and you just keep doing that over and over and over. But most salespeople give up after the very first call. 44%, in fact, if they call you and you don't answer as the prospect, they will not call again. But how many times have you been persistent with somebody and they finally picked up and said, hey, look, I've been really busy, but I appreciate you calling me. You're not pestering people. They reached out. Now, if you're cold calling, which is something that I used to do, maybe it's a little bit different. But if they're reaching out to you, that means at some point there is a need. They want what you have, and you just have to be more persistent with them. So there's a full follow-up process that you can fulfill, and it looks something similar like this. Let's say somebody fills out a form or they give you a call and you don't answer it immediately. You call them back day one, you call them. If they don't pick up, you wait 30 minutes. Then you call them back again. If they don't pick up that time, then you shoot off an email. So what you've just done in the first day is you've reached out 3 times. Okay? Now let's pick day 3. You call them again, no answer. That's 4 times. We're going to keep count of the actual contacts we've done with them. Now let's go to day 5. That's 2 days after that. You email them, so they don't respond. That's 5 contacts. Now let's go to day 8. You call them again, no response. Let's go to day, let's say 11. You call them again, no response. Go to day 15, you email them, no response. Let's go to day 18, you call them, no response. And then finally, day 20, you email them one final email, and you're gonna say, have you given up on blank project in the subject line? And what a lot of times, what happens is that is your 10th correspondence with this person in 20 days. If you reach out to somebody 10 times in 20 days and they ghost you on every single thing, well, then maybe it really wasn't meant to be, or they got their problem solved, or whatever. But at that point, there's a pretty good chance that you're not gonna touch base with them, or something else is going on that you can't control. But in that final email, if you reach out and in this subject line, you just say, let's say you're a kitchen remodeler, you just say, have you given up on your remodeling project yet? Question mark. And you send that out. Nothing in the body, just the subject line. And what happens with a lot of people is they don't want to admit they gave up, but maybe they did. And a lot of people will actually respond and say, hey, yes, I have. Or every so often they'll say, no, I haven't. I've just been busy. Let's talk now, or let's talk at this time. So at least you get them back on the hook. All right, so that's 10 contacts in the first 20 days of when they've reached out. And again, back to, this is why you want to do it within 20 days, because if you span this out over 6 months, you're not really striking iron while it's hot. You're waiting for this thing to simmer down, and then you're trying to strike, but at that point, it's probably too late. So be persistent with it. Most people will give up after their first or second call. I think like the rule of thumb is like, if you reach out like 6 times, you have like a 95% chance of getting in contact with them. It's not always gonna work, but if you follow that 10 contact in 20 days flow chart or process, that's your best chance to actually get in contact with somebody. And the last thing that you want to do is be one more phone call away from actually doing business with them, because, you know, what if they were just waiting and you just hit them at the perfect time and you're good to go. So second thing is make sure you're persistent with following up with people, because everybody is super busy, and especially if they've reached out to you, you are not pestering them because they asked you. Third and final thing, close more leads, is what I'm trying to do right now, bring the energy. I remember back when I was living out in California, I was trying to get my car detailed because I was about to go sell it. So go online and I find a company, White Glove Detailers, I think is what it was called. But I called the person, and this is how they answered. I'm gonna be them. Well, actually, I'm gonna be both parts. So I called them, and I hear,
hello?
Hey, is this White Glove Detailers?
Yeah.
I literally said, you know what? I'm good, I'm gonna find somebody else, and then I hung up. Because when I call somebody, and it's to do business, if they answer with the most apathetic, they're already bored talking to me.
Hello?
It's terrible. Are you serious, right? Like, do you want this business, yes or no? So the way that you answer the phone and the enthusiasm and the energy that you bring, if it sucks, how are you gonna get somebody else excited for the project too? Like, you're trying to sell them on this dream, on this vision. right, of working with you. And if you don't even care to do this project and it's very obvious, why would somebody ever do work with you? Why would they hire you? Imagine going and trying to buy a car and the sales rep who's trying to sell you a car is sitting there on their phone and you're like, hey, does this thing have a navigation system? And they're like, yeah, it does. Nobody's gonna buy from that. So if you don't bring the energy, and I'm not saying you have to yell and be all peppy and stuff, but there's a certain level of confidence and you give a factor that needs to be very apparent, because if you can transfer your energy into the other person, well, then you're transferring your trust that you know what you're doing and you're happy to do the project into them as well. So that's your third part, all right? Energy needs to be there. You don't need to be putting on a face that's not you. You don't need to be like over the top energetic, but you need to make it apparent that you actually do want the business and you do want to do work with somebody. I'm gonna misquote this a lot, but I think it was actually Ben Franklin that talked about the two things that you need in life is energy and persistence. That's it, which maybe it wasn't even Ben Franklin, maybe it was somebody else, but I'm like 95% sure that it's Ben Franklin that said that. And if nothing else, I'm energetic and confident about it, so you'll believe it anyway. So, big 3 things. First, make sure you hit the like button, because that is gonna be the easiest way to generate leads, right? Maybe not, but either way, hit the like button, really helps out the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for doing that. Let's recap. 1, speed. Somebody calls you up or somebody hits you up online, answer the phone. And if you can't talk right then, tell them that. You need to make it seem like what their problem is a big problem as well, because when you can empathize with them and they feel that because you just answered quickly, it goes a long way with people, and that's the very first impression. I have clients that if we make a yard sign for them, I'll ask them, because they'll say, well, what should I put on there? And the option is either their website or their phone number. It's because you got to show people how to contact them. And I'll say, if somebody calls you, will you answer it on the first call? And if they say, well, sometimes, because sometimes in the field, then I'll say, nope, we're going to the website, because the first impression is everything. But if they say, yep, I will, I'll say, great, we're gonna put your phone number on there, and then that way the first impression is good. So speed is everything. 2, make sure that you are persistent. You need to follow up with people over and over and over. It's the same thing with marketing, where you gotta show somebody a message over and over and over and over and over before it finally sticks. And that's no different than selling. Make sure that you're continuously following up with people. Hit that 10 contacts in 20 days. And at that point, if they don't go through with it, check them off your list, you're good to go. Last but not least, energy. Bring the enthusiasm, because if you don't care to actually provide a service for them, why would they care to hire someone like you? Do these 3 things. It takes no more amount of money or resources or anything to do all 3 of these, and you'll be good to go. Hit the like button, really appreciate it. Go out, make it happen. Thank you.